Welcome to the podcast. Oh, everything is broken because we did not do sound check because someone was already streaming. That's
Indeed.
fine. That's fine. That's fine.
I just, I just, I just wanted to raid you. Is all. I'm
No,
sorry for
no.
being nice.
I appreciate the raid. I definitely do. I just also appreciate your shirt not coming out of the frame because you want a
Oh
green
yeah, look at
shirt
that.
against a green screen effect. Wow.
Here, let me go change shirts real quick. Give me two
No,
seconds.
no, it's fine. It can just be broken today.
All right, I guess.
Yep. Uh, so how was your stream? I guess I'll be polite.
Oh yeah, it was good. Secret of Mana made a lot of good progress out there. It was
Hmm.
very fun. It's interesting because like you're the hero that's going to save the world, right? And you find a sword and it's like this is the mana sword and it's like okay. So, this is the sword I'll be using.
Hmm.
But then you pick up like 10 more weapons that you can also level up and it's like do I need to level these up? Do I
Uh huh.
need
Uh
them to
huh.
save the world or I do it just need this sword?
It,
It's very confusing.
I mean, apart from the narrative effect there, that kind of reminds me of Final Fantasy VII, where everyone knows Cloud wields the Buster Sword, but in the game, you get rid of that thing after about 30 minutes and never touch it again.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe it's just a function of like '90s gaming, where they're like, I don't know, just do stuff. We're
Just do
just
stuff.
gonna, yeah. The gameplay and the narrative aren't necessarily going to be on the same page all the time. So
Hmm. Yeah.
yeah. Olivia wants to know how do I set up that background for Teams and work calls. If you use Discord, it's easy enough.
Hmm.
I don't know, Matt. I'm not sure if Teams allows for GIFs to be your background, but if they do, then pretty easy to set that up, I imagine.
Yeah. You also have to pay for Discord to do that, don't you? Like, get a
That's
custom.
true. You do have to be on Nitro.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Gotta pay for it.
Yep.
Well, fair enough.
Indeed. What should the Falcon Paladin Hour command for Nightbot be? I guess
Uh, just to
Twitch?
YouTube?
YouTube,
Because
maybe?
why would it lead to Twitch? We're already on Twitch. Making a command to lead back to here sounds stupid.
You make a good point.
Yeah.
Twitch.tv at Somicron. YouTube.com/Somicron. There we go.
Yeah, that's me. It's me.
That's the one.
Yep.
Good answer. All
So
right.
I want to complain about something, Falcon. I want to
Please
complain.
do.
I want to
Please do.
I want to whine about the most first world problem.
Okay.
So you know how I occasionally buy things on, say, YouTube, like a movie or a TV show or whatever.
I do.
Yeah. So I bought Chernobyl, which I watched.
Oh.
But you've heard me complain, or I'm going to remind you, I've complained that you can't watch these in a Chrome browser or a Firefox browser or whatever browser. On a browser on YouTube, you can't watch them at 1080p. If you buy them at 4K, you can still only watch them at 480.
Which is the craziest? Like
Uh huh.
480. It is currently the year 2025.
And I've had the assumption that Google, in their infinite wisdom, assumes that if you put a copyrighted piece of like show or movie or whatever up, a person on a computer is probably much more likely to be able to steal it than someone watching on their phone or through an Xbox or whatever, right? Or a Chrome TV,
Yeah.
a Google TV. So that kind of makes sense that you get the full 4K experience there, but not on your browser, even though it's absolutely a dog shit experience. Which is why I watched Chernobyl on my phone in bed at night. Which that's not a horror show, but man, is that a fucking horror show? No, I mean maybe not the best way to watch that show, but it was effective. I'll give it that. Anyway, I was watching something on YouTube, and it was like, hey, there's a bunch of free movies here. Do you want to watch A Fistful of Dollars? I'm like, not really. What about City Slickers? I'm like, oh,
Ooh.
I, I've, I had that on DVD. I will watch that again for the first time in 15 years. Uh, you can watch their free movies in 1080
But if you've paid for the
for
content, you
10.
get 480.
Yeah,
Not even 720? It's
not
480?
just 480. Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yep.
Yeah, that's terrible. I'm not sure that classifies as the most first world problem.
It's pretty up there.
It's pretty up there though,
It's
yeah.
pretty up there. Anyway, that really annoyed me.
Yeah, watching Chernobyl on a phone
Mm-hmm.
sounds like a tough experience. That is a show that's I mean, I don't know. It's not like it's a crazy cinematic masterpiece. It's really good
Mm-hmm.
cinematically, I would say. And there's
Mm-hmm.
some amazing shots in there,
Oh,
but
for sure, yeah.
it's not like it's like amazing action or anything, I suppose.
No, no, there's not a lot of action.
No.
I think the most action you get is someone shooting a dog, which,
Yeah.
you know, I didn't need that in, you know, I don't need to go to a cinema to see someone shoot a dog.
No, probably not.
No, nope, I'm
Probably
good.
not.
I'm good.
Yeah, so this is your second time watching Chernobyl?
No, first time.
This was your first time.
Yeah.
I thought.
No, I missed
Oh.
it in 2019 because it's on
Huh.
HBO and we don't have HBO here. So.
Right. So I don't remember this specifically, but I'm sure I must have gushed about it like crazy to you on the podcast. And then you
Mhm.
were like, I don't have access to it. And I was like, sad.
Pretty much. Yep.
And then 6 years later, we got there on a phone in
Oh.
bed.
In a bed, watching a man melt inside his own body. It gave me nightmares.
I believe it.
Yeah, so there's a group
Oh.
chat between us and Laughing Games, and Laughing Games said, "Because you mentioned, I'm gonna rewatch it." I'm like, "Great, just got to episode 3, awful." Nope. So that's when I threw that out. I was laying in bed. Oh god.
Gotcha. Okay, so what is the Summicron review of Chernobyl? The best thing Falcon has watched on TV, possibly in the last 10 years.
Really? You think it's the best in the last 10 years? Like that's more of an interesting statement than anything I could say. Because it's
Uh-huh.
good. I think it's really good. I think everyone in that show should have gotten every award they were eligible for.
Totally.
Yep. I hope we never get a Chernobyl 2. I can't imagine what that would. I guess you could call it Fukushima.
You know what? I'd watch that. I think that'd be pretty interesting too.
Yeah.
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 Maybe they're working on it. Who knows?
Maybe.
Maybe.
I don't think you can get Stellan Skarsgård to play a Japanese man though. That's kind of a
You know what?
it's kind of a requirement for the show, I think.
Oh, you're saying without Stellan Skarsgård, the movie or the TV show isn't quite what it is.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he is
Fair.
great in it.
Yeah. Oh, ridiculous. Jared Harris also great in it. I mean, yeah, the casting's insane.
Who did he play?
He's the scientist.
Oh,
like the
okay.
pure scientist at the start. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I was
Yep.
looking at this on IMDb or Wikipedia or something. That guy who plays the scientist is going to play the Soviet Union Chebukov. The like I don't want to say president of the Soviet Union because that's not the right word, but the guy with the birthmark on his forehead. He's going to be playing him. Gorbachev, that's it. He's going to be playing him in another movie coming out soon, and it's like, oh, he's going to be playing two characters in two different shows that could have met each other. Well, did meet each other.
Yeah,
So
totally. During
there's
the same era of
Yeah.
USSR. That's cool.
Fun fact, totally irrelevant to the show, but fun fact.
Yeah, no, Jared Harris is great. I think he's amazing in everything that he's in. He does he is like he does like super creepy evil really, really well, and like in this show he's like super like morally justified and like a really great person. He does that well too. So he's got a lot of range there. Yeah.
I've definitely seen him in something, just off the top of my head. I don't know what it is that he sticks out in.
He's got a big resume.
He does. It's huge. I will briefly skim through this. Oh, that's what it was. Sherlock Holmes. He played Moriarty in Sherlock Holmes. It's definitely one of
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, I know where I remember him from. He's from Resident Evil. He plays like
The
a scientist
TV show?
No, the movies.
The Resident Evil movies.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I have not seen those. Gotcha. So he's
You
in there.
haven't
That's
seen-
funny.
You should definitely watch the first one. It's good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Are they? Is it?
The
Is
first
it now?
The first one's good. Yeah.
Hmm.
I feel like you don't believe me.
I don't. It's a video game movie that was made in
2002.
yeah, yeah. We're in serious danger territory there.
It's
Video
good.
game movie made in the mid 2000s or in the 90s is like,
No, no, no. It's good.
all right,
Yep.
we'll see.
Yep.
I'll think about it.
hmm I mean, it was so good. He got to marry the director, Paul Wes Anderson, W.S. Anderson, married the lead.
Oh,
Yep,
gross.
that's like where they met, and they
Yeah.
kept doing those movies again and again together. So, the first one's good. That's all I'll say.
Okay. Okay,
Yep.
I hear you.
hmm
Understood.
Okay. Okay. I feel like you
Yeah, yeah.
don't
Yeah,
believe
just
me.
remembering, I'm thinking about Chernobyl, which is way better than Resident Evil, the movie.
Ooh, I don't know about
Um, wow.
that. I'm kidding. It is.
I'm-
Ooh.
I feel like I've shared this with you before, but I love the scene where there's the nuclear scientist in Sweden, I think she is,
Mm.
right? And they're just getting ready for the day, and one of their like spectrometers goes off like on alert, and they're like, "What the hell is that?" They're like, that's radiation. That's nuclear radiations being picked up. What
What?
happened? What disaster's going on?
Right.
Like nothing around here that we've heard of. So then
Yeah.
they investigate and they're like, this could only have come from Chernobyl. This is very specific to that nuclear power plant.
hmm
And the only way it'd be here is if it had actively melted down.
If
Holy
if
shit.
if their containment building was breached, basically, like if the core was
Entirely.
exposed, not even melted
Yeah.
down, just if it was exposed. Uh,
Yes. Yeah.
yeah. I
So
think
they're like, what should we do?
what can we do? Because if we call them,
Yeah.
they'll deny it. You know.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Uh, I think my favorite scene was when they get the robot from Germany to go up to the top level to like
Yeah.
collect bits of control rod, all this stuff that's super radioactive that will kill people within 2 minutes if they're out there. And it's like, all right, we got the robot. All right, go 1 meter forward, and then it dies, and it's like, Stellan Skarsgård is like calling them, being like, "What's going on?" And they're like, "Oh, it is the official position of the USSR that a global nuclear catastrophe could not occur here." They gave them the propaganda numbers. That robot would never work, and it's just him losing his shit at everyone, knowing the KGB is listening, tearing a phone out of a wall. You really get this, like, at that point you've come a long way with this character who was like in charge but didn't take it seriously, to takes it very seriously and needs other people to, and they're not. you know
Yeah, he's Jared Harris's greatest ally in the whole thing. Like,
mm-hmm.
no one's gonna believe this random nuclear scientist, but
Mm-hmm.
he's got this big old bureaucrat with a ton of political power behind him in Stellan Skarsgård, and yeah, and like he's asking Jared Harris like all these like questions about it, and Jared Harris is like trying to simplify it as much as possible. I love those scenes, man. Those are good.
So good.
So good. And good for the audience too, because we are not nuclear physicists.
It's true. Yeah.
That's really well done. Yeah, I love the scene too where they are having dudes in like hazmat suits giving them shovels and like, okay,
Oh,
go out on this roof.
you've got 90
You
seconds. Yeah, when you hear the bell
90
ring, you
seconds,
come
shovel
back.
as
Yeah.
much as you can off that roof, and when the timer hits, you run back.
Uh-huh.
You are not out there longer than that.
Mm-hmm.
So you get this
That's
first person perspective of this dude, like, just terrifying concept, right? Like,
Yeah.
if you stay out there too long, you die. Like, what are you taking negative effects anyway? Like, you're gonna
Yeah,
die
oh
of
yeah.
cancer someday now, and
Probably. Yeah.
yeah, you run out there and like shovel as much as you can and run back. Scary stuff, dude.
Yes. Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awful.
Also, that scene from the first episode where the town, Pripyat, is
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
what it is?
Pripyat. Yeah.
By Chernobyl, where all the workers live.
And they all go
They
out to the bridge.
see-
Yeah. Oh.
and they're all looking out at it, and I'm like, oh no.
And then, like, they even touch, like, to wrap it back up, they touch on that at the end of the last episode. And it's like, that was renamed the Death Bridge because everyone who went there died. Yeah.
Yep. Yep, they were miles and miles away from this thing. They could just see the glow out there, like, ooh, pretty. And they all died because radiation's terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or the scenes with the dudes, the firefighters who went out there to try to fight the fire,
Yeah.
and then,
Yeah. They're the ones
Oh.
that melted into their own skin.
Yep.
Although I did go to look up and like how accurate is a lot of this, and I
Yeah.
found two comments of note. One was a Ukrainian who said, "I can't watch this show. I can count all 9 inaccuracies in the first episode on one hand," which I thought was very funny because
Very funny. Good.
nine fingers on one hand. It's great. The other one was
Uh-huh.
uh, the the lady who goes in to like see her husband, the firefighter who's dying, and they're like, "Don't go near him." Once he'd been like cleaned and like hosed down and stripped of all his clothes, he himself would not be radioactive. He's just dying.
Sure, sure.
So you could have. There isn't actually any reason you couldn't touch him,
Right.
other than it being super gross.
I don't know scientifically, but I can imagine random nurses at a hospital being like,
Right.
I don't know, man.
Right. No, I get that. I
Yeah.
get that, but it was. I think that was
Yeah.
a point in the actual events of history is that they wouldn't let her near him because they thought she would catch him. But
Gotcha.
scientists
Even
at the time
though-
knew that it would have been fun.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I imagine if that happened today in another country, they'd still be very, very careful with these people about
Oh, for
letting
sure.
people near them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anywho's. Yeah, just so many good scenes, so much good stuff.
Mm-hmm. So much.
So much. All right, that's Chernobyl. 5 out of 5.
5 out of 5. All right.
You agree?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Okay. Just checking. Super good. It was on HBO, as Somicron said, but it's available.
On YouTube. I bought it on YouTube.
There you go. Probably in your country, it's available on YouTube.
I think it was actually pretty cheap as well. I think it was like $20 Australian.
Nice. Yeah,
Yeah,
worth it.
easily.
Totally worth. I don't want to buy it.
You know what I buy? You could rent it for like a third of that.
No, I know. But here, I mean, the problem with buying digital stuff these days is like, what platform did you buy it on? And will it be there in 10 years?
Right. I didn't buy it. I bought a license to stream it for however long
Right.
it's on the service.
And so, well, the two problems are one, is the service going to cease to function and exist? Or are they going to remove the thing from the service at some point? These are
Right.
both options.
I bought it for 16.49 Australian, so that's even cheaper.
Hot dang.
What a great
Yeah.
deal.
Absolutely great deal.
Yeah.
What is it, 8 episodes? However long?
Five episodes.
5 episodes. Yeah, so not even that huge of a commitment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember it was airing in the summer, and we had a big family reunion that we went to, and like I brought my Roku with me because I was like, I need to watch this week's episode of Chernobyl.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so like Tuesday night, I set this thing up. My parents were like, "What are you watching?" I'm like, "It's a show about the nuclear meltdown of Chernobyl," and they're like, "Oh, okay." I was like, "No, it's really good, I promise." Worth it though. Worth it in the end.
Did they enjoy
Okay,
it?
that's Chernobyl. They watched some of it with me, but
They weren't.
I don't know. I mean, it
hooked
was
to
like episode 4 or something, and I don't know if they had the context to really understand what was going on at that point.
Right.
Yeah. Anyways, that's that. Should we talk about StarCraft 2?
Sure. Yeah. Let's talk about StarCraft.
So last week, I woke up and I hopped on the Twitter box,
Mm-hmm.
and the first thing I saw was StarCraft 2 confirmed for the Esports World Cup in 2025. And I was like, whoa! Like, we were losing hope. We were
We
not
were.
sure that was going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No. I was doubtful. I had doubts. about
Totally.
it.
Yeah, me too. But it's happening, so I'm really excited for that. And I was like, awesome, great news for StarCraft 2 in 2025. The event last year was great. I expect good things this year too. Let's do this.
Yeah. Yeah. Looking
And then the
forward to it.
very next tweet, like the very next one in the timeline, was ESL being like, no ESL Pro Tour for StarCraft 2 in 2025. And I was like, ah.
Yes, that sucks, to say the least.
Yeah.
I think it almost makes EWC kind of worthless. Obviously, to the players playing and any prize money they win, it won't be worthless. It'll be worth however much it's worth. Hopefully,
Yeah.
at least $1 million again. That would be nice.
That'd be
But
nice.
I think I would rather take the 4 events ESL gives over the one EWC.
Certainly, certainly
Um,
fair. I mean, four is more than one. Yes,
it's just like we Clem won last year, so Clem we count that as the de facto World Cup. Clem was a world champion, right? Would you say that last year? Yeah.
I would.
Okay.
Yes,
So whoever wins this time, it's gonna be like, okay, they won the only tournament in 2025. Do we count that as a world champion?
we
Are
do
they
not.
are they the best player? They were the best player that day for sure. But you could say that about any
Yeah,
tournament. But you have to say that about the only tournament.
yeah. No, definitely not. I don't think winning one tournament is enough to determine that you are 2025's champion. No.
No.
Nope.
So you know, mixed feelings at the moment.
That's fair. Entirely fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just thought
But
it was funny that the news for both things came out on the same day. I
sure,
was like,
sure.
weird.
Yeah, I mean, I saw something similar like that. It was the Nintendo announcing Switch 2 and being like, here's the Switch 2. It'll be $500 in the US. And people were like, ooh, that costs too much. And the next day, Trump was like, and we're putting tariffs on Japan. And they were like, we have to delay the pre orders until we work out how much this is going to cost. It's like the one problem people had with the Switch was that the Switch 2 is that it's going to cost too much and it's about to cost even more. Um, so that similar vein, same vein.
Definitely. That's really good.
Also, I'd just like to say how many players will be at EWC, and how are they being chosen? Like, will there be qualifiers?
That's a great question. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what they do. I have no idea how they do that.
Yeah, that's what I was worried about.
I mean, I imagine they'd have to set up qualifiers at least.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Yeah. Hmm. Well, it's going to be interesting. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, we will see. We will stay tuned for more information as it was revealed later this year, probably.
Looking forward to it. All right. So that's the StarCraft 2 of the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly blank. Aki, you saying it's a mostly blank page is overselling the amount of information that's there.
100% blank.
Yep.
Yeah. So speaking of Warhammer, I have seen some people with signs that are like, um,
Don't tell.
Warhammer's expensive enough as it is.
Uh huh.
These terrorists are just going to make it even worse.
Uh huh.
Yeah, I thought
Uh,
that was very funny.
I mean, it's all made in the UK, and I think UK
Yeah,
was only 10%. So I mean,
sure.
ten
That's
percent
a
of a lot is
chunk.
still a lot.
Yeah,
But you know, I'd say buy a 3D printer, but you're going to be buying a 3D printer made in China, and that, you know, it might
same
still
problem. Yeah,
still might be cost worth it because buying the PLA is going to be way cheaper than models. But you know,
right. But still sucks.
yeah,
Yeah.
grab a Bamboo Lab now before their prices go up.
Uh-huh. Saw some story RD posted in the Discord server that China's like trying to ship like 5,000 iPhones to the US before the tariffs go into effect.
Yeah, Apple did that. Yeah, they managed it. Yeah,
Yeah,
there were
very funny.
5 full flights just of iPhones. Is what I read.
That's
Yep, it's a lot of
that's very
iPhones.
funny. Yeah, Apple has a lot of money.
Yep, that they do.
You can afford five last second, holy crap, entirely full of phone flights to the United States
which
from
is
China. Amazing.
which is interesting because obviously that reflects the fact that they want to get them over to America before they have to jack the price on the iPhone. Because once the prices go up, they'll in theory sell less. But I can only imagine that Apple can increase the price of their products and people will still buy them. Like it's an iPhone. The people who always buy a new iPhone are going to buy a new iPhone. People who need a new phone. Apple doesn't sell old iPhones. You know, it's the new one's out. We've stopped production on the old ones. Buy the newest
Yep.
one. So I can
Ye-
I can kind of imagine them just being like, okay, put the prices up, it's fine.
Well, yeah. I mean, you consider the price of the iPhone and how it's increased since it was released in '07.
Mm.
And yes, I agree with you entirely on that because it was a $200 in 2013,
Yeah,
and what is it now?
$12.99,
Yeah, yeah.
something like
So
that.
yes, and they're still selling as many as they ever were, and they're totally fine. So yeah, iPhone 16.
It's just I don't know. Maybe the skeptical part of me says Apple wants to have a stockpile of these lying around so they can keep selling them at current price for 6 months, and then put the price up for like for a different reason and be like, we didn't put the prices up for tariffs. This was an entirely different reason that the prices went up. You know,
Hmm,
that way they could
maybe.
pitch an angle of being like, we ate the cost of those tariffs, friends. Buy an iPhone.
I guess.
I
I
guess.
mean, that's an interesting PR attempt. Yeah, that might work.
Yeah. It's
That
like
could be interesting.
all those companies that said we didn't take bailout money in the last economic crisis, and then 12 years go by, and it's like, oh no, they totally did take bailout money. Looking at you,
Hmm.
Ford. Oh.
Ah, what a mess. What a mess things are right now.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed.
What a mess. So,
So
yeah,
further into Warhammer, or did
that's,
you have something
I
else?
was going right back to Warhammer.
Ooh, further into Warhammer.
Did we want to just get to the book?
Yeah, let's do.
Cool. So we read Caves of Ice by Sandy Mitchell, a Ciaphas Cain story.
Yep. So, after two books of the Caius with Cain series, I think two things really stand out to me here.
Uh huh.
One is he's seen as a hero of the Imperium,
Mm-hmm.
which he thinks is makes him a fraud because he's a coward,
Uh huh.
right?
Yep.
And he is seeking to preserve his life as much as he can.
Uh huh.
Because there are instances where he's willing to put his life on the line for the greater good, for like the goals of the Imperium and to save other lives, right?
Oh, when he doesn't have a reasonable way to back out of it.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
for the sake of his reputation mostly.
Yeah. But it is what it is. He's able to overcome his own fears and his own cowardice
Mm-hmm.
to do stuff if there are external motivations to do it.
So, Amberley in the first book does say that if he is being completely honest with how much of a coward he is, and bravery is overcoming fear, he is the
Yeah.
hero everyone thinks he is. Because
Right.
he is arguably afraid at every turn of every story he's ever in, but
Uh-huh.
manages to come out on top. Sure, lots of other people die, but
Right, right. Right.
but not Cain.
Right. And it's not and a lot of it is because of his decision to take on brave actions
Mm-hmm.
despite his feelings.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's just it's just a weird way humans look at the concept of heroes, right? Is
Mm-hmm.
that like the ideal of the hero is hero saves the day, is not afraid of anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like Superman. Like Superman goes in there and saves everyone and he's not really in danger and he's not afraid of anything
Because
unless
nothing can hurt
kryptonite's
him.
involved.
Right.
Because nothing can hurt him and he's a hero. He's really strong and brave and tough. We should look up to him.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, the technical definition of bravery is overcoming your own fear. And
Mm-hmm.
if you don't have any, it's not being brave, it's just doing your job.
I am currently reminded of the line in, I want to say it's Serenity or one of the Firefly episodes where they're robbing a bank and there's a guy who's about to like try and pull a gun and stop them, like what, a customer or something, and he goes, "Do you know what the definition of a hero is?" And it's like someone who gets other people killed. You can look it up later.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and hero, arguably, Caiaphas Cain gets a lot of other people killed, especially in this book. He takes like two squads down into the caves, and like half of them die, both times.
If not more, honestly. I think the second
Second
squad,
time,
it's only
oh
he and
him.
Jurgen that make it out.
Yep, yep.
Yeah. Yeah. And the Adeptus, I guess. Anyway.
Yeah, yeah, low tech,
Mhm.
low gash, I think.
Logash, something
Low
like that.
gash.
Sure.
Yeah, yeah.
That guy. Yeah. So that's one thing. The other thing is how much effort he puts in to making sure. What is. I mean, it's hard for me to even say what his goal is here, but he wants his troops to be effective and to respect him and love him so they don't shoot him in the back in battle.
Right.
So
His
it's this purely selfish motivation, but like he really does make an effort to visibly care about the people under him,
it's
even though it's an incredibly cynical motivation. Like he's not doing it because he cares about them.
mm-hmm.
But if you ask them, they'd say, yeah, like
it's
Commissar Cain cares about me as a person and I will die for him. You know what I mean?
because he cares about the troopers. That's the reputation he's cultivated.
Right.
Um, and he says a lot of it, like as a commissar, he says a lot of other commissars are just like, well, you can rule by fear. Just shoot a couple, the rest will fall into line. But
Right.
Cain says if you do that, you're going to find them at your back on a battlefield, and they've all got guns. You know.
Yeah.
So for him, it's just practicality, and to everyone else,
Right.
it's Cain cares about the well-being and the welfare of the troops, which
Right.
he doesn't, but it means he has to act like he needs to keep them in in fighting standards to do the Emperor's bidding, even though the Emperor's bidding is a war zone and he'd rather not be in the war zone. If you're going to be in a war zone, having a loyal regiment beside you is the best way to do it for Cain.
Right. So it just explores this idea of like, can you be a person who is kind and outwardly, visibly, obviously caring of those around them? But inwardly, it's for cynical, wrong motivation.
Right.
But if nobody can tell, is there a difference? Right?
Probably not. Although, what I will say is, this book is obviously written by Cain. We're only getting Cain's bits that Ambly doesn't include. She includes like
Yeah.
context for the thing, but there are definitely times where Cain cuts like parts out, right, where he skips things, and Amberly will touch on it and be like, "Oh, from this comment, we know that he did spend some time at the front line before going down into the caves." And
He
some
broke
of
up
these
snowball fights.
exactly, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Snowball fights. Uh, and some of these allude to like he, had nothing to do that day except organize a firing squad. So he is, on some level, willing to be a commissar that shoots
Yeah.
people.
Yeah. No, definitely. But he's not ruling by fear on principle.
Right.
Yeah. And again, it's all his perspective.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as we can tell, his people do love him. His people do respect him. They do see him as their commissar. They are willing to take a bullet for him.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's working.
Mm-hmm.
So like so I guess my follow-up question is that sociopathic behavior? Is that just recognizing how to appear appear one way and manipulate people into liking you, even if you're not being genuine with how you're acting and what you're saying?
Is Cain a sociopath? I don't know.
Right?
He's I don't know. I think when the mask comes off when he's with Amberly, he's not a sociopath. He has genuine feelings and thoughts and stuff, and he's just very good at hiding them, at assembling. I don't think he's technically a sociopath. I don't think sociopaths can like find the right woman and just be like, and I get to be a real human with you.
Yeah, but maybe she's a sociopath too. She's a freaking inquisitor. Like,
yeah.
right?
Sure. Yeah.
But the number of times he says, I am directly manipulating the people around me to get the required and the wanted outcome I'm searching for.
Mm-hmm.
That is a sociopath maneuver.
Yeah.
Right? And it's not... And he's not using it to be a serial killer.
Right.
right?
As far
Which
as
is
we
kind
know.
of generally the idea of what is a sociopath? Why are they a sociopath? Why do they seek
Mm,
to be accepted by others? And it's usually to murder them. But
sure.
he's not trying to do that.
Uh, I mean, he gets a lot of them killed. Maybe he just wants to be around it. He doesn't want to do it. He wants to
But
manipulate
he,
these people into deadly situations and just watch.
yeah, but he's got empathy for it though, because when he's down there with like the death squad,
The- I will
and
say,
they lose a team member, he's like, why are they so unbothered by the loss of their friend? They should be bothered by that. Like he understands it.
when he goes down there with the
The
Valhallans the
first
first
group,
time, yeah, the first time,
yeah,
there are points where he takes a break from writing in the current stream of consciousness for the narrative and relates that like he's in his second century, he's lived well beyond what he's supposed to, and he might be the only person left alive who remembers these people. Their deaths stuck with him to this day, and then he thinks about
yeah,
them, and that when he goes, that last little bit of them will also be gone. I don't think he's a sociopath. If he's sitting there being like, Trooper Voorhees kept me up at night because watching his face disintegrate from a Gauss blaster.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that's a great counter example, 100%. So look, number one, this is a fictional character. It's not a real person.
Uh huh. It's true.
So maybe there is nobody like this. Maybe there's nobody that's like really towing this line between manipulating everybody around him into liking him, but also has incredible amounts of empathy for everybody around him. You know?
Right.
I don't know.
I think the empathy might be performative, or at least,
Hmm.
um, like, I don't know. Maybe empathy to Ciaphas Cain is his duty. He has to pretend to care about the troops, so the troops care about him. But it's to him, it's initially just his job. Like he says, he got like dumped in the commissariat, right? He didn't really have a lot of choice, and he's like, okay, well, what's the best way to do that? Pretend to give a shit about them.
Yeah.
So I think we can safely say a part of it is performative, but also he's lying to himself. Like he thinks, okay, I just need to get them on my side because when I'm in a fight, I need them with me. And so he's in his head, he's set up all these rules, being like, gotta manipulate them into doing what I want. But really, he does give a shit.
Yeah, and
I can see that.
so it's practicality,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's practicality. I don't want them to shoot me in the back in a firefight.
Mm-hmm.
Rather than these are fellow people that I like and that I
He
want to be family to me. You know what I mean?
right. He does say he never really becomes friends with many more of them outside of the command staff. Like it's like there's Colonel Sulla and
Who he hates.
is it Sulla that he hates? Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. It is. It's Castine. Castine that he's
Yes.
friends with, and Brocklaw that he's friends with. Like he gets on first name basis with them, and
Yeah.
I do like it when he's coming up out of the ice and it's Sulla there, and he's like, oh fucking, of course it's you.
And then she interprets it as this like amazing moment where he's like, "Oh, it's you that's here to greet me. I was hoping it was you." Yeah.
She's writing about it in her memoirs. It's like, and Cain was so pleased to see me, and my breast swelled to breaking at the trust he had given me to like watch over him and like to caretake him at this moment, and how I was coming along in my potential. So it's very funny.
It is. And as we talked about last book, it's just about physical attractiveness with the female soldiers with him. Sulla
Essentially.
apparently looks like a horse,
Yep.
and Castine is hot.
Yep.
So that's the reason he likes Castine and doesn't like Sulla. That's it, honestly.
That's pretty much
So,
it.
I mean,
Yeah.
in that way, he does totally suck. Like, Cain
yeah.
is not. I don't know. He's a complicated person.
You're
And
supposed
he
to
sucks in a lot of ways.
You're supposed to go, okay, dude, come on, man. Like,
Yeah.
he's supposed to be the kind of guy you could be friends with, but you have to like pull him aside and be like, maybe keep that to yourself a little bit, just you know.
Well, and he sure does.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think he's ever vocal about the fact that
No.
he thinks Sulla is ugly and Castine is hot.
No,
He keeps it to himself.
keeps it to
We just
himself.
happen to be in his head.
That's
Yeah.
true. Yeah. Oh.
So yeah, I mean, lots of Necron stuff going on in this book. Orky
Mhm.
stuff too.
Mhm. Mhm. Orcs and
And I
Necrons.
think, yeah, I think I talked about this during the stream on Friday, or Saturday, whenever we did it.
Mhm.
Sunday. Yeah, it's kind of one of my first exposures to both orcs and Necrons, like outside of the Infinite and the Divine,
Mhm.
which is kind of its own unique perspective on a Necron,
Well, two
right?
Necrons. There's two Necrons there.
Yes, two Necrons, and then some other ones get involved, but it's not like the Necron Empire as a whole.
I mean, I think it might be a better look at the Empire as a whole than say this book. This book is this would be your first exposure to Necrons from the Imperial point of view, where they're just an endless tide of metal men, of brass
Yeah,
monkeys.
yeah,
Hence the name Simia Orichalke. Um,
yeah. But like, they are
yeah.
like Krazen is like a thinking, reasoning
Uh huh.
dude.
Uh huh.
And every Necron we meet in this book is just like
Well,
must kill
okay.
Terminator 4000.
Yes. Okay. So the context that you're missing is that when the Necrons went through biotransference and stopped being flesh people and became the metal monsters. The
Yeah.
high level ones, the aristocrats, got to keep personality. All of the slaves
Okay.
and serfs from their culture, mindless automatons.
Okay.
Yep.
And not just mindless, murderous mindless automatons
Yeah, I
who,
mean,
when they're woken up, just kill every living thing they come in contact with no context and no larger goal.
they do follow commands from people within their dynasty, so all of the higher ranking Necrons can give them orders to like not kill people.
Okay.
To a
So
degree, to a degree. Um,
okay. So again, it seems like again from Kane's perspective, which
Dave.
I understand is limited and flawed.
Uh huh.
Every time we find a Necron tomb and it opens, a million Necrons come out,
And
conquer the entire planet, and
uh,
murder everyone on it.
yes.
So the Necrons are just like, hooray, another planet, let's take it.
No,
Like, that's it.
the Necrons from their perspective is this is our planet. Get the fuck off it.
We
It's
get
not.
it back.
Yeah, because think about it. The Necron tomb worlds have been on the planets for like 65 million years,
Right.
and geological formations have just covered all of their pyramids and stuff.
Okay, so they're just reclaiming lost worlds at this
Yeah,
point.
except they're all just slowly waking up, and they tend to get woken up faster when there's intruders, because that sets off alarm bells. But
Right.
people like the Mechanicus go, there could be like sacred archaeotech down there. This is a chance to get closer to the machine god. Let's try and bust in.
And I mean, one, not wrong. Two, terrible idea.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. So, okay, so once they've conquered a planet, do they have the ability to get off world from that point?
Yeah, so you in this book, the main way that Necrons are getting out is not actually waking up from the tomb. They're getting warped in through a warp portal, which could
Right.
lead anywhere in the galaxy. So they could
Right.
also use that portal to just leave if they
I
wanted.
know, but I mean, can they create like starships
Yeah,
and
there's
like
spaceships
conquer nearby planets?
if they wanted.
Like on this planet right here.
If they wanted, probably.
Like they don't have them. They'd have to build them.
They could
Or
have
do they
them in.
have them down there somewhere? They
They
might have
could.
them down there
Okay,
somewhere.
so Trazen the Infinite keeps a bunch of stuff in Pokeballs. Remember?
Right.
No reason you can't put a ship in a Pokeball.
Okay. Gotcha. So then yeah. So it's beyond it could necessarily be beyond where retaking our planet is we are
Right.
using this as a jumping off point
Right.
to hit everything
So
else.
the question of like what are the Necron dynasties doing in the galaxy is an entirely different
Yeah.
question to what do Necrons do when they get woken up to a human infestation.
Totally.
Although I would argue that for the most part the answer's the same. A lot of them are just happy to kill everything.
Okay.
There are some story threads that suggest that their overall king, this guy called Imhotep the Stormlord, and then this he's more like a general. There's a Necron called the Silent King, who apparently took a vow of silence after getting tricked and turning them all into soulless metal men.
Right.
He's coming back explicitly to try and rally all of the Necrons to fight the Tyranids, because the Necrons are the only ones that when they die and lose a planet don't give the Tyranids more biomass. Like, they're perfectly situated to fight them. So he might be coming back and being like, well, this is a real threat. It's like, sure, we need to get rid of the Imperium. They're an infestation on the galaxy. But we can do that at any point. We need to rally for the Necrons now.
For the Tyranids.
For the Tyranids, yeah. I think there's some...
Yeah.
I don't know how many stories there are that are exactly that, right? Or if it's just like, yeah, here's an extract in a codex somewhere that hints at it, you know?
Yeah, no, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right, fair enough. So that's Necrons. And then we have Orcs.
Orcs, yeah.
So the question I had was, did the campaign at Ulnar, like, wipe out the main force of Orcs in the galaxy?
No. Yeah.
Okay.
No. Yes. Asterisk. No. I think is a better way to put that.
Right.
So Ulnar was 10,000 years ago. So
Yes.
It was a long, long time ago, and it probably took out the main force. I don't know. Calling it the main force would be wrong, because that implies that all of the Orc forces are united, and thus a main one. Ulnar was the largest...
A majority thereof of Orcs in the galaxy.
Ulnar was the
50
largest Orc empire ever discovered at the time.
Okay.
That doesn't mean there weren't other Orc empires not aligned with the Orcs at Ulnar who didn't move in afterwards or grow larger elsewhere.
Right. Okay, so my question is, do you run into kind of smaller warbands of Orcs all over the place, or do you often run into an Orc kingdom that you have to take down?
Excellent question.
Okay.
The answer is yes.
Okay.
So they
Fair
actually
enough.
explain how the Orcs get to this planet in this book. Do you remember it?
They sneak aboard a space freighter?
No.
Okay.
That was a presented idea on how the Ambles got down there. The Orcs crashed there on a ship, right? Like, they had a ship that crashed there, but that ship was a part of a larger ship called a Space Hulk that dropped out of the warp, detached, and then they went and crashed, and then the Space Hulk disappeared back into the warp, right? So that is one way in which Orc infestations just get around and keep popping up, is the warp spits out Space Hulks, and they're infested with sometimes Tyranids, sometimes Orcs, sometimes both. And, like, when they're back in real space, the Orcs go, sweet, planet over there, let's go get it.
Right. That makes sense.
And they're just essentially a splinter fleet, like, assuming not all the Orcs left the Space Hulk, but, like, they're just a warband at that point. They're not part of a kingdom or whatever. Once the Space Hulk leaves and they can't, like, get back to their main forces, they're just, like, a band of bandits. It's a good way to look at it. I do kind of want to talk about something with Cain, but it's like, it depends. Do you see us reading all of the Cain books, or... Because, like...
How many are there?
16.
Okay.
Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, maybe 14 main ones, and then about 6 or 7 short stories. And, like, here's the thing. When I said that these fall into a pattern, it is like, we're here to fight Orcs. And then plot twist, there's another enemy. It's the Necrons, or it's the Gene Stealers. And now we have an excuse for Cain to go underground, where his old Hiver boy senses really kick in. And Jurgen is habitually festooned with Pax, and he is malodorous. Like, the way Cain describes every fight is going to sound very familiar. It's the same every time, because Cain's not a writer. Cain's a commissar. So it's always going to be very similar in plot structure. It's like, hey, we're here to do one thing. there's a reason for me to go underground probably, or we'll be like in a space Hulk, which is
Yeah.
essentially like being underground, and it's the same thing. So
And
I'm
then
happy
there's
to.
a twist. Yeah.
There's a twist. Yep. Cain thinks about the people around him and how they can die for him or help him.
Mm-hmm.
It's all very much the same. There are exceptions. There are exceptions, but I'm happy to keep reading this. But if you want to do like two more books and then maybe call it,
Yeah,
see,
that sounds fine. We
okay,
can do that.
because what I will do, because I don't think we'll get to it, is Cain talks about clearing a Space Hulk with the Reclaimers chapters of the Space Marines, right?
Yeah.
So you don't work this
Which,
out.
sorry, just as an aside, Reclaimer chapter is an offshoot of what?
The Iron Hands, I think. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Yep. I don't know.
Continue.
I don't know that they specifically know who the apparent Legion was.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That
So
common?
oh yeah, super common. Because think about it. The second founding was when all of the legions split up into chapters, right?
Yeah.
At that point, after that, all the third founding, the second founding, all the way to like the 30th founding is what I think they're at. You had chapters becoming successive chapters of other chapters.
Hmm.
And so when the records for where those chapters came from, their chapter might just go, oh shit, well, we came from that chapter. We don't know who they came from.
Gotcha.
So history gets
There's not
forgotten
like
that.
genetic information in the gene seed. You can be like,
Yes, there is, but
okay,
highly guarded secrets from Mars.
yeah,
Um, gene seeds get mutated over time because like you're making copies of copies of copies.
yeah, that's fair.
Knowledge gets lost. Yeah.
Okay,
Sometimes
interesting.
um, weird shit happens where like a scientist is like, I'm gonna try and make this gene seed better, and does not make it better.
Yeah.
Anyway, Cain is clearing a Space Hulk with the Reclaimers chapters. This is how he loses like his fingers that he gets augmented. If you once you read like all 14 books, something like that, you can actually piece together that the Tyranids on Gravelax in the first book, or the Gene Seals, and the orcs that came off a Space Hulk are the same Space Hulk that he tried clearing, 15 years earlier, and like
Oh.
all of these war zones are all tied together from shit he did. Like he essentially caused a lot of this. It's very
Nice.
funny, but it's just like hints and details, and I don't think he ever puts it together. It's just for you, I feel like, or maybe Amberly puts it together at one point. But like,
I was gonna say, if anyone has a perspective, it's probably her. Yeah,
yeah, um,
yeah. Okay, so anyway, Reclaimer group.
the Reclaimers. Yeah, you want to know about the Reclaimers?
No, you were starting a thing and I interrupted you.
I don't know that I was.
Didn't you say that Cain was
Oh, he was
on a
with them.
space Hulk with a
Yeah.
bunch of Reclaimers?
Yeah, and that it had a bunch of Tyranids and Orcs on it, and like
Okay, so that's the inciting incident.
that's the inciting thing. That like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Cain helped push that back into the warp, essentially. Like he helped clear it with the Reclaimers. Clear it means they were able to get in there and like salvage some tech because they're kind of tech marines, like they're Iron Hands, so they're like friendly with the Mechanicus, and that causes him a shit ton of problems later. Where I think that
Awesome.
there's a book where Cain is like stationed with the Valhallans on a Forge World, and the Forge World like leading Magoses are like, yeah, we've got a bunch of gene stealers in the vaults. We're studying them, and they're like, oh, that could be a problem, and then it's a problem, and then suddenly they have to go into the vaults, and it's underground, and you see the pattern.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. That's fun. Okay.
Yep.
All right. All right.
All right.
Unrelated question, real quick.
Go for it.
So, second time Cain goes down there into the tunnels where the Necron tomb is,
Mm-hmm.
he's with again these hardened like
Stormtroopers. Yeah.
stormtrooper guys who like don't even notice when their friends die. They're like the mission is more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
And then they come face to face with the Necrons, and they are terrified. There's like some terror feel the Necrons have.
Yes. So the Necrons are very scary, and they have an aura of a an aura of fear that they instill, basically.
Yeah, like through
But
the warp because apparently
nope.
a blank can inhibit it.
That yeah, so that's one of the like wibbly wobbly lore questions of the book.
Yes, it is.
That fundamentally all of the Necrons don't have souls, and so they don't really do anything with the warp. Like that's the one thing that they can't kind of function or like
Yeah.
access. And so whether or not their auras of fear are generated by the warp, or just because they're really scary, or if they have some sort of science that does it, I don't know.
It has
I
to be some kind of science because these dudes are not going to fall apart emotionally because there are these robots trying to kill them.
right. Sure,
It has to
it
be.
has
Like,
to be.
Cain doesn't fall apart into a puddled mess of fear.
He's next to Jurgen though,
I know,
which means it has to be the warp. But like,
right?
I think it's one of the things that if it was written today, it would be different.
Okay, fine.
Um,
Fair.
I'm happy to say maybe it's them tapping into the warp with science in some way, some limited way. But
I
like
mean, does this exist now?
the aura,
If you write
yeah,
about Necrons in 2025, the aura exists,
yeah.
and it's
So
explained as what?
well, here's the thing: it's not necessarily written about, but it's in the rules. It's like
Okay,
in
it's in the tabletop.
ninth edition, some of the Necrons would have like just a radius, and if you get in there, you take like a -1 penalty to will saves. I think, yeah,
Yeah. That makes sense.
essentially. I don't know that it works that way in 10th, but like, who cares?
Noted.
It's
Okay.
it's gonna change every edition. Like that's all I mean.
Yeah. Okay, so it's a game mechanic, and as far as the writing is concerned, it's a game mechanic.
Yeah.
How
Uh,
much of Warhammer is that? How much of Warhammer fits in that box of it's a game mechanic, therefore it's in the story. We're not going any deeper into this.
um. It's an excellent question.
Hmm.
I don't know because that would require me to know everything about the tabletop. And
Sure,
like,
but like estimate.
so what I'll say is in the last Cain book and this Cain book, I suppose, every vehicle, every weapon, they're all things you can play on the tabletop. Every last
Yes.
one. Right
Yep.
down to the Orc Dreadnought with the belly cannon. Yeah.
Which was very fun. Yeah.
Aura of Despair, is that what it's called? But that says it's a Broodlord Psychic Aura. I don't think that's right. Even
Yeah,
that's
Brew
from...
Lords in Warhammer.
Oh, yeah. They're just a model of... I think we fought them in Space Marine 2.
Oh, just
Yeah.
a Tyranid?
They are a leader organism.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Shrug.
I have a tattoo of one. That's... There you go.
Oh,
If you've seen my leg sleeve, I've got a tattoo of one of these. Essentially, it's a mix of like a bunch of Tyranid kind of things. It's not a mix. It took inspiration, but it's mostly Broodlord.
gotcha.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
All right, so then Commissar Cain saves the day
He does
by
by turning the entire refinery
yeah.
into a fuel air explosive. Air fuel
dumping
explosive.
1 trillion gallons of promethium down into the tunnels underneath the refinery,
Yeah, we didn't even
and setting
touch
it
on
off.
we didn't even touch on what like the actual story of this is. They go to an ice
We
planet.
didn't, but
There's a gas station there. The gas station has Necrons in the basement. The Orcs are coming to steal the gas. Cain finds an excuse to get out of fighting the Necrons by going into the caves. Then finds the Necrons, says that's the real threat, and then blows everything up. That's TLDR.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of nice. You can really summarize these books pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Orcs are just always fun. I do
They are.
always like reading about them. Yeah.
We will definitely read an Orc book soon. We
Okay.
will. Alright, so the next Cain book, I guess, is The Traitor's Hand.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, is this the one that I think it is? Oh, yes. Okay. Yep, I remember this one. I mean, I remember all of them, but
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Uh, so I'm just gonna point something out here, which is all of the cover art for the book sees Cain standing around doing something heroic, right? Like in this one,
Yes. Appearing
he's
heroic.
riding on a Lehman Russ tank with his chainsword raised and a bolt pistol. Cain does not
Yeah.
use a bolt pistol. He uses a las
Right.
pistol, which is how you
Uh-huh.
know that all of these photos are propaganda. These are staged photos because the bolt weapons are like the iconic Imperial weapon. So like they give him a bolted hole and be like, "Yep, let's go into battle, Commissar," and they take a photo. To the point where,
or
or, or, or,
or the people in real life that draw the covers don't understand that.
no, they know that. They
Because
know it.
are you sure?
Yes, because
How do you know?
Cain has a model on the tabletop, which is the
Yeah.
exact same, where they gave him a bolt pistol and he's standing on a pile of dead orcs, and then if you spin the model around, there's a ladder that let him climb up to the pile.
That's funny. Okay. I'm just saying because there's the Dresden Files book series.
Mm-hmm.
Every cover of those books, Harry Dresden is wearing a hat, and he never wears a hat in the books.
Okay.
It is specifically commented on that he does not like hats. But every cover, he's on the cover wielding a staff and fire magic with a hat on. It's amazing.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
And at this point, it's basically the early books, sure, the author just didn't know what was going on. But by this point, there's like book 10, like they know. They're doing to be funny now. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it might be the same. It very well might be.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so the most recent Kane book was called Vainglorious. It came out in 2023. So is this not the series is
Oh.
still going, right?
Yeah.
And he
Popular
is
guy.
posing with a bolt pistol. So
So yeah. By this point, somebody's probably brought it up to the artist
uh-huh.
at some point in the last, 20 years. Yes.
Yeah.
That's funny. All right, good. We'll grab it. We'll do it for next week.
Yep. We'll do it for next week. Sounds good.
All right. Anything else to cover today?
Don't think so. Don't think so.
Okay. Well, sounds good. We'll wrap it up. That is it from us. This has been Somicron and Falcon Paladin with another edition of the Falcon Paladin Hour, streamed live at twitch.tv/Somicron. As we're doing right now, you can find the VODs at youtube.com/@Somicron if you're more of a YouTube person or just a listening person. You can also support the podcast by going to falconpaladin.store, buying merch, or going to patreon.com/Somicron and pledging there. You can also subscribe on the Twitch channel and send bits and stuff if you're interested in that, or gifting a sub or whatever. Lots of options there. And we'll be back next week at the normal time, probably. Follow the Discord if you want to keep up with those the updates. And until next time, we'll be back, and you take care of yourself. Goodbye.
Bye. Bye-bye.